Well, welcome to episode 44, where we're also going to cover 41. And that's because 41 and 44 were both Harley Benton SC400 gold tops. Now, the first one was a disaster, number 41. It had high frets all along the fretboard. I'll put a picture up of some of the stuff here. And the switch was intermittently bad. The detuner was bent. And except for the B tuner, all of the tuning shafts were all wiggly, so they were all crap. So in the end, Harley Benton provided me with a replacement guitar, which became gold top number 2. And number 1, I eventually fixed it. I created a press tool to fix the frets, glued them down, leveled it, did the whole setup, new strings, and it played perfectly, including new locking tuners. That one was given away at my 1,000 subscriber giveaway auction contest to my subscribers, and it was given to somebody called Froggy in Montreal, Canada. And so I don't have anything to show you on number 41, and that's why I skipped it. But we have gold top number 2, which I outfitted a little bit differently. Oh, I did put the locking tuners, except the Cache, not the Music Lily. This one came with different knobs than number 1, and I like those knobs a little bit better. I did put some push-pulls on these when I originally did it. Now the pickups in here is a set of Pro Buckers, which I bought on a lark because of Leo, Ryan in Texas, who said he bought some Pro Buckers, threw them in a guitar, and they were good. Well, I threw these in here, and they were better than what came on gold top number 2. The original pickups in gold top number 1 were unbranded. They weren't the Roswells, and the neck was 14 point something and 7.5 in the neck. I should say the bridge was 14.5. The neck was 7.5. Now the ones that came in here were again unbranded. The values were slightly different, but they didn't sound to my ear as good as the ones in number 1. So I decided to change these to these Pro Buckers, Epiphone Pro Buckers. And I didn't really like these Pro Buckers either, but I decided, well, I'm going to leave them in there. And in between then and now, of taking it out of the bag and getting ready to do this story about it, I have also reworked this like I did with the DC DLX, with the filtration capacitor resistor circuits that are born out of the Gizmo 1, Gizmo 2. So I've changed the setup on these things, and I'm gonna just give you a little look. Let me put this down at how I've reworked it. I also had to extrapolate from Gizmo number 1 how I was going to make it work. So it's different between the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. Okay, so here I used the parallel capacitor and resistor coming out here on the, was that the bridge or the neck? It's bridge. It's kind of small. On the bridge, in order to get the tonal qualities in my ear that I really wanted to hear. And then on the neck pickup, I had to go with a series capacitor only. I had tried a resistor, but it didn't really work. So I had to get this one down to 2200 picofarads. This one ended up being what, that's a 100K resistor and a 4700 picofarad capacitor to get what I wanted, because the Pro Buckers I found muddy. Okay, muddy. I didn't like them at all. There was a sweet spot blending in the middle, but it was nice. So this is what I ended up doing. Rewiring it like this after a couple of different tries. And now they sound a little bit closer to the Vanson 57s, which I like a lot. Now, so I did the work on this as well as number one. I didn't have to glue frets down on this one. They were all glued down. The ends were not bad, but I smoothed them off anyway. A little bit of dust on this thing now. It's been sitting out for a couple of days as I've been playing with the circuitry. Oh, I still have my little suction cup on the back that I didn't take off when I was pulling the cover. Yeah, so the roller bridge, you know, went in on this one and number one. So this one ended up being about the same. I think I put the original pick guard on number one when I gave it away, or I gave it away with the guitar. I can't remember. There was a tiny divot where the screw here was pushed into the face. It was pushed into this one too, more so than number one. This one showed a lot more, and I did a couple of you know, dabs of paint and stuff. I could not match the exact color, mixing and matching and the like. But when I found these clear pick guards, well, now that that's back on there, it kind of hides the divot that would be right underneath that screw. And when I put these things on, I put the screw in and I take it to my belt sander and I sand off all the bottom part of the screw right up to the nut. So that even if this accidentally gets pushed down, it's going to be flat with the nut and it's not going to make another divot in the face of the guitar. Don't like that whatsoever. All right. What else did I do? I just basically cleaned them up and, you know, oh yeah, I changed both nuts. The plastic nut was crap. So this is the low end guitar from Harley Benton, the SC400. There's a 450 in gold top, but it's gloss. It was a little bit more money, and I decided that I was gonna go with this one, the matte one, because one, it was cheaper, and it was extremely disappointing when I got number one and it was all lifted frets up on the ends. But I made myself a tool to press them down and crazy glue them in and do the whole leveling, and so it worked out okay. So I hope Froggy in Montreal is still happy with the gold top. Now, I want to show you what these pickups sound like now with those capacitor filters in the circuits as they are. Whoops! Bang things around here. Let me make sure I didn't. No, I didn't bugger up the tuning. Alright, so what I'm going to show you is 65 Deluxe, completely dry, no reverb and no delay on the bridge pickup. Let's take a look. There's the bridge. Notice the lack of muddiness. See, that capacitor worked out perfect. Go to the neck. And again, that used to be. Now, when you put that filtration in order to take out the muddiness, and it moves the resonant peak and rolls off the bass a little bit sooner depending on the value of the capacitor, And the smaller the value of the capacitor, the more roll-off you get. So what I found out was that I need to build a Gizmo 1 that has a multi-turn switch like I did with Gizmo 2, so that when I'm doing this in series thing, I want to be able to go through a series of capacitors in order to test it, like I did with number 2, which puts things in parallel with the pickup, as opposed to Gizmo 1 puts filters in series with the pickup going to your output. So when you do that, it affects the treble a tiny little bit as well. So what I also had to do was adjust the height of these pickups in and out of the body, and then the pole pieces on the treble here on the neck just had to be brought up a tiny little bit to accentuate them, to bring them up and not, you know, have it lost with the capacitor. And on the bridge, it was similar. The pickup didn't have to be dropped as far down in the body, and the pole pieces for these 4 are raised above the cover 2 turns maybe, just to get everything balanced the way it should be. And in the middle, see? Three distinct sets of tones, like it should be. Okay, I'm going to play a riff. I'm going to do it with my overdrive on in the amp and my fuzz pedal on the pedal board. Before we do it, here is wet, a little bit wet with the reverb and delay. We move it up to with the compressor. Beautiful. And then we can move it up to the overdrive. And then we have the fuzz in there. But we're not going to use that one. We're going to go with the overdrive in there. I'm going to turn this on. Woo! So now it's got power. And this riff is in B. And I stole it from the Blues Cousins. It's a part of a song called Love Matters. I hope I don't get dinged for copyright. We're on the bridge. Full up everything. So I like how it's turned out for the second time it's been reworked. I did this on the DLX just before this one also with the Tesla pickups. Now that I know about the gizmo way of doing things, I can fix some of the things that I wasn't exactly happy with as these guitars come up. I think I've passed a couple also that I might need to go back to. So that's the story of the gold tops. This is the replacement that Harley Benton sent me for free. They didn't want the first one back. They said keep it for parts. You can go back and watch all of that series if you choose to on all the things I did to it. But Gold Top 1 was a 5-part rework series. There was a lot of stuff to do, and Gold Top 2 is only a 2-part series. So yes, still have the Gold Top. It's still nice. It still has that nice cutaway here. Yeah, and you know, for was a $138 guitar and $168 with taxes or something like that. You don't find guitars in a $150 range with this cutaway like this. Okay, this is one of the best things that they did on this guitar. They made a lot of other goofies, but this was really one of the best things they could do and not have the big chunk sticking out here. It's a lot easier to play up here. It's quite comfortable, you know, when your hand gets there. So anyway, that's the story on number 2. I'm sticking to it. Thank you for all your support. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you in the next one.